Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have been waiting for this moment for weeks, months, and almost a year. It'd be about a year, almost. Yeah, I think so. So I have with us today, first of all, welcome to Tish Talks Tech. My name is 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀, and see, now I have everything dinging off on us, but we have with us today Aileen Nguyen, IBM champion, way across the water, across the pond. Everybody that I know does not live where I live, and that's okay. But I have to go visit. Aileen, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come. I cannot believe that you're actually sitting here across from me digitally, virtually, and talking. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's so nice to see you. I'm not even gonna look at a camera. I'm gonna look at the screen. How you doing?
I'm good. It's brilliant to be here. I'm so delighted that you've asked me to be here today.
I mean, you are like you are a tech hero. I made the video. I said, I have a surprise for you.
Oh my God, that video was so cool. Oh, I loved it so much.
Tap dance.
Oh my God, it is so brilliant.
Thank you.
And it's so sweet. There's so many lovely things in it. Thank you so much.
I was so inspired. I'm not gonna cry. I was so inspired by our conversations because you just tickle an itch that tech needs right now. You do the whole STEM thing. You inspire everybody. You're on the GSC. You hold a chair. You inspire women to do their best. Women and men. Everybody. And we're so here for that. And you're nice. Plus, wait a minute, y'all. There's more. There's more. I've got more for you. Plus, you sew, you cook, you're well-rounded, you read, you have a whole master's degree in something so deep and so sound that most of us would dream to do it. And you're in tech.
Yeah. Yep, I'm definitely in tech. I've been a mainframe systems programmer for the last 25 years, and it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best job ever. If your brain works in the way mine does, it's just, if you want to stay curious and keep learning, and the beauty is no matter how good you are at it, no matter how much you never know everything. You cannot. This is the first job I have ever had that I didn't have a really good handle and know it pretty well inside out within a couple of weeks. And I nearly gave it up because I thought it wasn't for me, because I couldn't get my head around it. And thankfully, Ciara O'Connor said to me a couple of weeks into it, look, stick it out 6 months and you'll see. And I did. And it was the best piece of advice I was ever given. Stick it out for 6 months, because by then things will start coming into place. And they did. But nobody knows everything in this world. And nobody, no matter how brilliant they are, knows everything about this job. So 25 years later, some of what I'm doing is networks, which is where I started on the mainframe.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much more that I'm doing. And I'm continually learning. And that's the beauty of it. It's brilliant.
I love that.
Love it.
Wow. And when we talked, you were saying that when you started, I don't even want to go there. When you were in college, what were you going to college for? What was your major?
So I did a 3-year Bachelor of Science, and I hated my subjects. So I did computer science, and at that time, we didn't have laptops, were like a thing of the future. So we wrote all our notes. We wrote all our notes on an A4 pad. front and back. And I had 6 foot of folders of notes over 3 years. Okay.
Wow.
When I ended up working in tech, one page of that 6 feet of notes was kind of relevant to my job. So what I did in computer science in college, it was very theoretical. I don't think I'm ever going to forget, about 2 weeks in, they were explaining to us what is a computer, because back in the 90s, not everyone had computers at home. This,
right.
You know, it's a while ago. And I remember them saying, one of the guys up the front of the class, a class of about 120 of us, said, you know, they were talking about Windows and these new Unix machines and how distributed computing was the thing. It was the be all and end all. And he said, what about these mainframes? And the lecturer said, oh yeah, don't worry about them. They still exist, but they'll be gone fairly soon.
Right.
And I remember thinking at the time, I was in the back of the class and I was really quiet. I wasn't able to, you know, I hadn't found my voice to speak up at that stage. And I remember thinking, I don't think he's right, because my dad works on the mainframe. Because at the time, my father was working for the bank, for AIB, on the mainframe. Not like my dad at all. Oh, hang on, maybe I am. So
just a little bit.
Just a tad. He may have been a little bit of an influence in my life. I'm kind of working in the same company he worked for, on obviously a much more modern mainframe, but you know. But right. Anyway, I remember thinking in college, going, I don't think that's right, because that's what my dad's working at, and they're busy. They're doing a lot of stuff. And I didn't really understand a lot of it, but I knew there was men and women working with them, and I kind of knew some of their names, and they were lovely. But I knew I didn't want to do that. I did not want to work for the bank. I did not want to work with computers, because when I came out of college, I hated it. And at the time, you could get a job without computers. And I also said I was never getting married. I have since learned that the word never is incredibly dangerous. Do not use it.
Right.
Because if you say you're never going to do something, well, I'm married for nearly 25 years. I'm working in the bank for nearly 26 years. I've been in tech and working with computers for nearly 30 years. So, yeah, I don't use that word anymore. It's
not anymore. Yeah. Yeah. That'll teach you for using never.
I graduated with my master's, as you said earlier on. So I have a master's in history of family. I did this earlier on this year. And a number of people are going, oh, are you going to do a PhD? And I'm really good. I'm going, I don't think I have time until I retire. I don't know that I'm ever going to do one, but not until I retire. Because I'm not saying the N word, because it's dangerous.
Yeah, don't say never. Like, I'm never going to do my PhD.
No, that's a bad thing.
Because it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I say go ahead and say it.
We'll see. I'm not there right now, and that's okay.
That's okay. But you're super busy too. So
I have 1 or 3 things going on.
Yeah. Wow. So you get out of school, right? And then you decide, well, I'm going to try this mainframe thing. What pushed you towards the mainframe?
Look, pure, unadulterated. Look, I got out of college going, never working in computers. I worked in a factory. I went back to nannying. So I was a full-time nanny in a house. I had a newborn and his 4-year-old brother. And
that's a hard job.
Yeah, it's a really hard job. Now, it was only daytime, but 3 things happened around the same time. So thing number 1, the industry was changing, and I was going to have to go back to school to be qualified to work as a nanny, a job that I was really good at and have been doing a long time. But I was going to be on the same money, and it wasn't great money.
Wow.
Thing number 2, I had a bit of an injury on my knee, and it collapsed a couple of times. And I was a little bit concerned that having a child on my hip and my knee collapsing was not ideal.
Yeah. Not with the baby on the hip.
Yeah. And thing number, now, I never collapsed with him, and he was always fine, and he was,
oh, good.
No children were hurt in the making of this.
Good.
Thing number 3 was so I'd nearly dropped out of college. I'd taken a year out so I could live down there. I'd nearly dropped out of college. my friend had told me, no, stay in college, great opportunity, even if you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
That friend was now my boyfriend. And while I was still on that, I'm never getting married, I was very much thinking about settling down and maybe having kids in a couple of years. And so I wanted a job that was going to give me proper maternity leave and proper cover like that, and also was going to be flexible when I had a young family.
Right.
And so I started applying to the banks, civil service, those types of larger industry
jobs with benefits.
Yeah, jobs with benefits. And so luckily I got into AIB, and they put me straight onto the VTAM network. Sorry, I ended up in a charity for a while as their IT manager, which is why I know I don't want to manage people. We had 26 offices before our event. Then it went up to 37 offices, and then we pulled it back as time went on, because you only needed offices when you were doing the fundraising part. I was there for a while, and then I got into the bank. And by then I knew I didn't really want to work with Windows, and I wasn't really a Unixy person. I'm not great with it. A lot better now because we have Unix on the mainframe, and
sure,
I can get around, and I'm getting a lot better with 𝗧𝗏 and things like that. But at that time it was like, and they put me in as a mainframe systems programmer with that team. And as I said, it took me a while to get my head around it, but I loved it. It just clicked. I love the fact that when you're in the mainframe, it tells you everything it's doing. It gives you, anytime anything happens, it gives you a message. And, if it's not doing what you're expecting, or if it's having an error or an event, there's messages.
Right.
Admittedly, every so often it's talk to your systems programmer, and I'm kind of going, I talk to myself for expert advice, but really? I ask this programmer, I have no clue what's going on here. But yeah, so yeah, that's how I ended up. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I absolutely loved it. So I did a couple of years in network, and then the network team was assimilated into the systems programming team. So I'm still on the kind of the ZOS systems programming side. I ended up in the mainframe storage team for a while, and then we got assimilated into the ZOS systems programmer team. So I've bounced around a little bit, but it's such a ride, and it's so fascinating and so interesting. And like, there's not a day goes by that you don't learn something. And another thing I love is, so at one point we got a graduate in, he was sitting beside us. So for the first while we were showing him things, but then we had a really odd problem one day, and we were scratching our heads, and he took one look at it and went, oh, have you tried this? Being problem solved, because he'd seen different things, he knew different things, because we all know different bits. It's kind of like a Venn diagram. Everybody knows some things, some of it overlaps, some of it doesn't. It's like, it's just so much fun.
Right. And that new thought came in, oh, I know a little bit of something of this, and then the other person, I know a little bit of something of that, and then you put it all together and you have this wonderful thing. It's one big thought, and now we get to complete the mission and move on to something else and make something even greater. I love it.
That's how we work. The beauty of mainframe is it's teamwork. Nobody can do everything, so everyone can do something. Everyone has a contribution to make, and you work with people. And while I might not be strong at something, I know other things, and I can work with people.
Right.
Actually, one of the greatest pieces of advice is my dad gave me. He gave me a lot, and it's one thing that I will say to everyone: you don't have to know where all the information is. You don't have to remember everything. It helps if you remember some stuff. It's the day-to-day stuff. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to remember everything. You need to know how to find the information, be it from a manual or another person. So that you need to know how to find the information, and that makes it a whole lot different. Don't be afraid to say, yeah, I don't know this. I'll come back to you. I can go and find it out, but so much better. So handy to know that.
And so while we're on that subject of finding the information, what would you say to someone that's new to Zed, and say, where would you tell them, go and find information on how to learn what you want to learn, because so many people are saying, well, I don't even know how to get started. I don't know how to figure out this whole mainframe thing. Is it even still alive? Is it alive? Did you go and swipe your card this morning? Did you get coffee?
You probably used it earlier on. I know I did, and I have not logged on to work today.
Yeah.
I used to think that we were doing our job properly if nobody knew we existed.
Yeah.
I'm now beginning to realize we need to tell people we exist, because they think mainframe is dead. It's not dead. It's very much alive. It's kind of running a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where to start to learn? I think the GSE YouTube channel is actually, GSE UK's YouTube channel is brilliant, because it's got a lot of the 101 stream, particularly that Niall Ashley and Atul and the lads look after. 101 is really good to start off. There's also the IBM 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is really helpful if you actually want to get down and dirty and actually try out things.
Okay.
But the GSE YouTube channel is a good idea to get ideas of what's there and what it does, and, you know, start with beginning stuff, and talk to people.
What?
Talk? I know this is shocking, but
say it again. Who?
Talk to mainframers. Message them, because most of them are really friendly and they love to talk and tell you all about what they do. They do.
It's the truth.
So, like, to be fair, mainframe community are just so friendly, and so everybody wants everyone to succeed. I think it's the one area where they really believe a high tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
You know, if you help people around you, it's for the better of everyone. So yeah, conferences are great if you can get to a conference. If you can't get to a conference and you want something now, after watching Tish Talks Tech, GSE YouTube channel. There's loads of other videos that are really handy as well, and then obviously IBM 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 is really good. And then if you're there are a few universities that teach mainframe, and I know Wolverhampton in particular have like a mainframe society. Join them. And I think there are different places. Yes.
Look,
it's the coolest thing ever.
I hope you guys have your pen and paper handy, because Aileen has given us some info that we need, some news you can use. Okay, listen, keep going. We're listening.
I think that they're the real things that I'm thinking. They're talking to people, and the YouTube channel, GSE UK, any conference you can get to. Cher also has a website. I just haven't the pleasure of being to Cher yet. Someday I will get there.
You got to come.
I would love to.
The next one's in Kansas City. That might be too soon though, but then maybe someday.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
I have a plan.
Do tell.
I haven't worked out what I'm going to speak on yet, but my plan is this. Someday I'm going to go to Roots Tech in Salt Lake City, and there's usually a Cher around the same time. So go to that one and then go to Cher. There's my plan. Oh, and also, obviously, I will be speaking at both. Different topics. So, I don't know.
That will be a busy month.
I just need to think about it a bit more.
Ooh, please call me when you do that, so that I will have it like embedded on the calendar, because I would love to see both talks in person. No doubt. Yeah. That's amazing. So we have on my handy dandy tablet here, I've got GSE UK's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We talked about the Cher YouTube channel. We talked about several universities that are teaching mainframe, but that's in your area.
Well, they're in the UK. In Ireland, unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, Letterkenny did have a course and they don't anymore. I know. It's so sad. But Ireland is quite small, to be fair. So
Okay.
when I started, we didn't have any courses in Ireland, so I would always go to the UK for my training.
Okay.
Now sometimes we would get somebody to come over for like the company and do in-company training, or else I go to GSE, but there wouldn't really be a lot of training in Ireland because we're a lovely little country.
Well, I'm sure that it's cozy.
Yeah,
you know,
we're loud. We talk a lot more than and you know, we shoot high, but there isn't a huge population of mainframers here.
Okay.
Well, there isn't a huge population. Full stop. You know, we're small.
But cozy. Yeah. Very cozy.
Cozy and fun and friendly.
That's what I hear.
It's a good place to be. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I'm sure there are, I know there's the Marist College in the US as well. I'm sure there are others. I don't know them. I'm unfamiliar.
That's okay. That's okay.
But as I said, we can't know everything. That's what other people's brains are for.
But what you gave us was more than enough, and we appreciate it so much. What about, can you tell me more about like your STEM initiatives that you were a part of?
Oh, I would love to be part of more, but so back when I started, my dad told me to join WITS Ireland, the Women in IT in Ireland. And I went, why? We don't have a problem. Because all around me, there was like plenty of women. There were women managers in IT, in the bank. I saw them being promoted around the time that, like, I saw one particular lady went out on maternity leave and came back in her new position as our manager. So I didn't see any issues. Yeah. And it was a lot later. It was only going to GSE, and some of the students came up and were talking to me, and they were saying, like, really, there's an issue here. I always had a friend with me when I went to GSE. I always knew a couple of people. But a lot of my friends who had been going a little bit before me were like, there was only 1 or 2 women in the room. And so we kind of decided, yeah, we might need a women in IT stream at GSE. And so that started in 2016, I think. And it's been running ever since. So obviously GSE UK is a technical conference. So we don't want to take people away from their technical training. So we very deliberately have 1 talk, 1 workshop, and 1 panel discussion. And everything else is, and we've started doing a photograph of some of the women. I'd like to get all of the women, but you're always going to miss some. Sure. But we try and get a photograph of the women who attend GSE, so you can see that there's a lot of us, and we're getting bigger every year, touching wood. So I do that. One of the other cool things I've just gotten involved in is an initiative called 𝗵𝗵𝗀, STEM for Passport for STEM Inclusion, or 𝗵𝗵𝗀. Anyway, the long and the short of it is some of the universities in Ireland, specifically Maynooth and the MTU, have gotten together. They are bringing 4th year students, so transition year would be about age 16, 17. Yeah, about 16. They bring them into university. They give them some IT training and some talks. And I'm lucky enough to be on the mentoring side of that. So I get to mentor 4 or 5 of a team of about 6 kids, talking to them about working in IT, talking to them about other types of jobs, enforcing the leadership and the things that they're doing that will improve their lot, and improve their skills for going forward. But at the end of the program, they get a level 5 qualification that they have in their back pocket before they do their leaving certificate, which is our higher level state exam. So the points from that exam, the points from the leaving cert get you through to university. And so these guys are going to have 50 points in their back pocket before they even start their leaving cert. So I just think that's brilliant. So these would be underprivileged. Yeah, these would be underprivileged kids. So they wouldn't really you know, the people that they would know wouldn't really be in well-paying jobs particularly. So yeah, I think I'm really excited to be a part of that program. It's brilliant. So yeah,
it sounds like, no, don't dare say that's all. That's a lot. It sounds like you just have your hands in cultivating minds, you know, and it's such a beautiful thing. Like, how does that make you feel?
I love the fact that I can do things like that. The thing is, it's really, really important that we get, you know, that first of all, that we get younger people and new people to come into the mainframe community.
Mm-hmm.
But at a broader extent, we need people to realize, first of all, that STEM is not just sitting there and coding. There are so many other jobs within STEM, but also we need to make sure that it's accessible to everybody. You know, it's not something that should just be available to you know, people with privilege. It should be available to anybody who's got the brain that works that way. And it's really important to be able to give back and to pull people up like that, and to, you know, to give other people opportunities that they wouldn't necessarily have. So I think I like being able to do that. I think it's I think everyone should be doing things like that. I think it's just it's important that people know that there are so many careers out there, and there's so many careers that we don't know anything about that are going to be there in 5 and 10 years time as well, you know. Right. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to do.
It just amazes me that you have the desire where like your desire meets the responsibility of training people. Excuse me. And that's an amazing thing. Not everybody has that. And for me to just be sitting here talking to you and hearing you talk about it, and the passion that you bring to the whole conversation, it's just like, I'm sitting here in awe, because a lot of folks would be like, you know, this is what we do. And it's kind of like what I did with my job, or this is what we do. And, you know, we had to do this, but you did it because you wanted to. And I think that's what is very distinctive about IBM champions, and what makes you who you are as a champion. And I just want to applaud you for that. You know, Aileen, you're amazing. You're just amazing. The career is awesome. You know, I know that you had a lot of, you probably got a lot of tips and tricks from your father, which, you know, is awesome in and of itself, but still.
Yeah, it was really good. Unfortunately, by the time I started working in AIB, he'd actually left IT and gone back into the business.
Wow.
But he raised us in such a way. So I've 3 younger sisters, none of whom are in tech. Okay. One is in insurance compliance, although technically they're a fintech because they do some applications in the background for the insurance industry. But she's in compliance. I love her. She's brilliant, but compliance. But he brought us up with things like always, no matter what you do, have a backup plan.
Yeah.
In life as well as in IT changes, have a backup plan. So think what you're going to do, think how you revert back to the original, and then you're good. And you rarely use a backup plan if you have it properly documented. Mm-hmm. He was really good when I first started, because sometimes there'd be problems happening, and I could message him and go, are you seeing a slowdown or not? And he was very good at the difference between a perceived slowdown and an actual slowdown. Like, he was a really good friendly user for things like that. Mm-hmm. But he did get very upset with me at one point. I was decommissioning software we were no longer using. Mm-hmm. Particular piece of software, and I told him I was getting rid of this. Now, this is probably 6 or 7 years into working in AIB. And he got really upset. He says, Aileen, how am I going to deal with things if I get called? I'm kind of going, Dad, you have not been in IT for like 15 years at this stage. They're not going to call you. You're okay. So yeah, it was quite cool. Like some of the people I started working with, and in fact, one of the guys that I'm still working with worked with him.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
the day I started, his best friend was on the floor that I was working on, and actually came down and told me to ring my dad because he'd been annoying him, going, "How was I getting on?" Yeah, it's really nice being second generation. It's really nice.
Yeah.
He was so good. He was so funny though, because as soon as I started in IT, so the Irish Computer Society, you have to be a year in working in tech before you can join, or you could at the time. So as soon as I had that, he was going, join it. So I joined it. And as soon as I was in it about 8 or 9 years, he was saying, right, go for your fellowship. And I didn't. It took me years. Well, you had to apply for it. I had to write a resume. I had to go and ask people to nominate me and sponsor me. And there was a lot.
It's not easy.
It was not easy. But he really wanted me to do it so that I could go to the fellows lunch with him. So we got to go to a couple of fellows lunches together before he passed. So it was brilliant. And now I go every year because it would be wrong not to.
Right.
But yeah, it's been good it was really, really good having him around. And he did come up with a lot of really useful things. He also used to use, that quote, I've heard it's Mark Antony, I've heard it's Confucius, I don't know who came up with it, but that quote about if you find something you love, you will never have to work a day in your life. Yeah, he used to use that a lot, and particularly with me, because I have a job, I do a lot of work. Like things happen and I make things happen and I fix problems, but I enjoy it a bit more than I just love what I do. And
absolutely,
there's a lot of mainframers that love what they do. I laugh because I know so many people who retired unsuccessfully a couple of times before they actually stop working, because they just come back because it's so much fun. It's a really good way to keep your brain active.
Exactly.
Yeah. Really good fun.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is awesome. You have to forgive me. My allergies are killing me. But it's either allergies or me thinking of you having the best time with your dad. I want to ask you, when it comes to work and when it comes to people being new, right? How do they find the mentor that can be the most impactful for them?
That's a really good question.
How do they do that?
I don't know, truthfully. Sometimes sheer luck. So I've had mentors who wouldn't know that they were mentors. You just talk to people and they tend to look after you. And if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you.
Right.
That helps. I know in work, we actually have a mentorship program. And so you can apply to be a mentor on that. So our graduates coming in will all get mentors. And I think you talking to people and find somebody who really enjoys what they do, and they will mentor you and they will bring you along. But I think also sometimes you may need a mentor for certain aspects. So find somebody who's good at the bit you need them to help you with.
That part, right.
That bit. You need to find them with the skills that you actually need. So I would be a dreadful mentor for somebody doing kicks because I know it exists.
Right.
Okay, I've never worked. I know how to spell it, but that's as far as I can go. Whereas I could probably mentor somebody doing ZOS or other things. But if they want mentorship on how to act in work or how to deal with people or that kind of stuff, different people have different skills. So you need to find the person who has the skill they have. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple mentors. In fact,
say it again for the people in the back.
I reckon use everybody as a mentor. The more mentors, the better, because they'll all have different skills. Like, to be completely honest with you, everybody on my team is my mentor. I may be mentor to them for other things. That's fine. But I think mentorship can be a two-way street. And you don't have to have somebody really senior to mentor you. Sometimes a new person has skills that you need, So I think look around and see who you think will be helpful, and then ask them. Or, super secret, don't ask them. Just talk to them. Have conversations with them.
Talk? Do that again?
I know.
You got to talk?
Talk to people. Talk to people. Because mainframers are people. And most of them are lovely.
This is true.
And once you find something they like, they'll keep going. I may talk a little bit more than some, but if you get somebody to talk about something that they know or that they're comfortable with, that the vast majority of people want everyone else to do well and will help out. I live my life by that. So just talk to people.
Talk to people. I like what you're saying. I kind of live by that. You have to. My grandma used to say, "A closed mouth doesn't get fed, Tisha.
Ooh,
a closed mouth doesn't get fed." You have to talk to people because they don't know what you need, or push come to shove, you don't know what you need. What if it is something like you said, you might need something and you didn't even know that you needed that, and that person's got what you need. And so if you were to have a nice even exchange of ideas by speaking, you just might get it.
It helps. Talking to people makes it does help. And it doesn't always have to be, a formal conversation. It can just be like, a quick question in the coffee dock or whatever. Or now that, like, I don't know how it is for you. I work 3 days from home now. You can always ping them on Teams and go, hey, time for a quick call. And it doesn't have to physically be there. It just talk to people though.
Right, for sure. Now, speaking of Teams, and this might be a little bit silly, but have you ever tried the little what is it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's the where you can make yourself into like an avatar on Teams.
The little avatar thingy.
I live for it.
We discovered that one day. We were in a team meeting, and I think there was probably 7 or 8 of us in the meeting, and one of the guys started doing that. And we were having a serious discussion about a particular problem, something that had cropped up, and he did that. And I'm kind of going, how did you do that? So I start fiddling. By the end, about 5 minutes more, most of the guys on the team had done it. Yes. We haven't played with it since, I don't think. But
that's a shame.
Yeah, now you've reminded me. I must do that tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It was quite fun. I must do that a bit more. It was fun.
At least as a team building exercise.
I have to say, my team are hilarious. They're absolutely brilliant. We don't like anyone who enforces us in team building exercises.
That's right.
We like hanging. We'd rather just go to a pub and sit down and have a few drinks together. Make us
I
happy.
love that.
If you want to
Yes.
feed us, even better. That's cool. But just don't make us do stuff.
Don't send us to like a panic room or anything. That's weird.
No. Actually, do you know, I did do at GSE. They had an escape room a couple of years ago, which was brilliant. Which I did.
Really?
It was really, really good. It was Henry Cooper and Anna Shugal did it, and it was all about security and ciphers stuff. It was absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
And I think that would have been good with my team.
It sounds like you guys gel together really well. Yeah.
They're a good bunch. They're a really good bunch.
That's fantastic. Aileen, I've got like a couple more minutes with you. And I feel like the time has just we've poured it out like a really good glass of lemonade. I just want to ask you some off-topic questions that are not mainframe related. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And this is live.
I'm reserving the right to say no, but yeah.
This is live and this is recorded, and I really don't care. I'm such a fan, and I'm just like, do you like Legos?
What gave it away? Oh my God. Yes.
Now you can see the part of my brain that's working. Okay, here we go. Yeah, welcome to my world, everybody.
I love Lego.
I love that.
Yeah. In fact, just before this,
yeah,
I made the little blockheads of Pluto and Goofy to go with my Donald Duck and Huey, Louie, and Dewey they're literally just over there.
Send pictures or it never happened. I love it.
I will send you a photo.
Yes.
Yes, it happened.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I love Lego.
Oh, I love that.
Love it.
I love that. I love that so much. And I remember you said that you don't cross stitch, but you sew.
I used to. I haven't sewn for ages, but I used to sew all the time. So like I started sewing when I was like maybe 4 or 5. And I used to make all my dolls' clothes and loads of Barbie and Cindy clothes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got into school, if I hadn't done my laundry, I'd just make myself a skirt or make myself trousers to go out.
Why not?
It was just quick. It was quicker because you didn't have to wait for it to dry.
For sure. All you have to do is cut it out.
Yeah, cut it out, sew it up,
done. Yeah.
A little bit of elastic, happy out. And I was very small, so it was like you didn't even need that much material.
Half yard. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I love doing that. And I used to love doing embroidery as well. Like I do I used to do a lot of embroidering denim jackets and my jeans and things like that with like band names, things like that. Yeah.
I love that.
I love doing that.
Oh my goodness. I see my hands just don't do that anymore, that portion. I like to sew. But the embroidery part, I just never get it just right.
Oh no, I loved it. I liked embroidery. I haven't done it for a while. I'm trying to think. The last big sewing project I did, I had to make a cloak for my sister's wedding out of faux fur, which I wasn't a fan of, but she was happy. She was delighted with it. And she knew I could do it because that must have been that was before my wedding. Actually, the last big project I did was my wedding, because I made the cloaks for my 3 bridesmaids and 2 dresses and a skirt. And then my husband's cousin made my sister's bodice, and she wouldn't let me make my wedding dress, so she made it for me. But yeah, between the 2 of us, we dressed all the women for like 600 quid. Like,
wow.
All of the women got dressed for less than the price of the outfit that my mother wore, and also for less than all of the men, which like they just rented their they wore kilts just because,
as they should.
My husband decided he wanted to wear a kilt, so they wore kilts. And then my dad didn't tell anyone he was going to wear one, and then turned up at the church with me. I knew, obviously. It was priceless. But
for sure.
Yeah, that's the last time I did a big lot of sewing. I've repaired things at hemmed since, but that's about it.
I think
do something.
I think that a lot of folks don't realize, you know, they talk about, you know, they're like, oh, that's no fun, or this is what I get. This is what I get a lot. I get people like, oh, you're just a Susie homemaker. I'm like, do you understand how hard it is to put things together? Sewing is like trying to learn assembler. It is literally puzzle pieces.
Yep. Yeah. Sewing. I can see where you're going with that. Yes, absolutely.
It's puzzle pieces.
But yeah, it is. And you need to be able to see what you're doing, and where there are times that you need a good head, you need to get your head around it. But
Yep.
it's very relaxing.
It's very relaxing.
Very relaxing. And then you've got such a lovely sense of achievement when it's finished.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I love.
And there's nothing better than having your hands on a nice machine and hearing the
Yeah.
Isn't that, look, even you have the face.
Yeah, no, yeah. I haven't taken my machine out for a while, and I'm kind of yeah. I do love it. I do.
Isn't that a great sound?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that sound. Yeah, that's I love that sound. I love the vibration in the hands, and it's just there's something different about that. And now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. Yeah, it is so good.
It's very good. Yeah, very good. And I know you cook as well.
I do. I do like to cook. I don't like cooking for like 1 or 2 people. I like cooking for like 6 or 10, or larger numbers. I grew up in a house with there was 6 of us, so I learned to cook for 6 as a minimum.
Wow. Tell me about that.
Well, like my mother had a bit of a scare when I was about 12. A friend of hers passed away, and the husband, he was a typical husband of the time, so didn't know how to do anything. Lovely man, had no idea. And her eldest daughter was the same age as me, so wasn't quite up to running a household.
Okay.
And so mum gave him an awful lot of support. She was brilliant with him. But she also decided that every one of us was going to learn how to cook, how to clean, well, I could already sew, can never knit. My mother was a great knitter. I can't knit. But she decided we were all going to be able to do everything. So, including my dad. So one Sunday a week, we would have to do. So on Sunday, it would kind of rotate between the family. So every 5 weeks, it was my turn. And then the next week, it was my sister's turn. And the week before my turn, it was my dad's turn. But he used to get me to help him.
Yeah.
That
help. We love that help.
Yeah. Help. So, Aileen, how do I cut that onion again? Will you show me?
Yeah, for sure.
How do I saute? Yeah. So, but I loved cooking. So and as I say, I learned to cook for a family of 6. So it's just easier for me to I do batch cooking and just throw it in the freezer.
Yeah.
That's kind of easier. And I do a lot of kind of, as I say, granny baking. Like I can do a really good Christmas cake, the heavy fruit cake.
Ooh.
Really good at that.
With the alcohol in it and everything?
Oh yeah. There was a question. And the Christmas.
Are you sending recipes for that?
I could give it to you, but I might have to kill you.
Please.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. I'll send you the recipe.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I do that kind of stuff. So one of my sisters is an amazing chef baker. So she does bake. She can bake, and I can make scones. I can do a Victoria sponge. I can do simple stuff. But one of my sisters does amazing choux pastry and flaky pastry and
wow,
patisserie stuff. Yeah. And then another sister does amazing roulades. And then so my other sister can really bake. But her husband, then boyfriend, when he decided he wanted to learn how to bake, but because I can't eat gluten, he learned how to bake gluten-free first.
Yay, gluten-free!
Yeah. So he does. So I can do a few, I can do muffins and things, but I kind of let them do the baking, and I do the roast dinners and I have a few other cool recipes, and obviously I make a stew. I make a really good Irish stew. Yeah,
I
cooking's
need the
great.
recipe for that too.
You get
I'm
whatever
asking
you
for a
need.
lot.
Stew is simple. You just like saute stuff off, throw it in, stop,
I
leave
want
it. It'll be
yours.
grand, and then leave it overnight. It's better the next day and the day after that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's your secret.
It's not. That's the one bit that's not secret about stew. It's always better the next day and the day after that.
Absolutely.
Let the flavors all merge together.
Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm hungry. I have to cook today too, so it's funny.
Yeah. I just made steak today.
So. Oh yeah, you guys are way past dinner by now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming up at 11 o'clock. So yeah, no, I'm done eating for the
day. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
That's all canceled by now. That's fun. Well, thank you. That's it. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. And I always ask my guests, I say, what else do you do besides the whole tech thing? Because I feel that it's very important. I'm of the opinion that it's very important for the audience to know that, especially those that are new to Zed, that we are real people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, even though we make some really cool AI videos, and we make some really cool. AI, thank you. We make some really cool AI people. My daughter called your video, "Oh, that's AI Eileen." I said, "No."
I love it.
And then when I said, "No, I think she's Aileen." She goes, "Doesn't matter. She'll always be AI Eileen to me." I said, "Okay." Anyway, okay. I digress.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So you're a celebrity in the house, but yeah, we have to be well-rounded, and you have to have more than just, I am my job, I am the learning, I am the computer. You are a whole person. You cook, you eat, you have friends, you have the community, you have the entire mainframe ecosystem, or your tech ecosystem, whatever ecosystem that you're
on. Whatever you're working. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to be able to be that person within the ecosystem. And I think that you demonstrated that for us brilliantly today.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you asked me to come on. I really appreciated it.
No, I appreciate you. 100%.
I think we have an appreciation loop going on.
We do.
Good to have. But I'm so delighted. I was so delighted when you asked me to come on. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Do you, before we part, do you have anyone or anything you'd like to say, in any shout outs you'd like to give?
If I did all my shout outs, we'd be here till next year.
Oh,
there's look, I've been so lucky. There've been so many brilliant people. So you've got the guys that I work with directly in work, and then you've got all the guys in GSE, the Marks and Kira's and the Jackies and the Neils and there's so many of them, and Angie and Al, and there's so many of them. And then you've got so many other people have mentored me throughout so many other things. Like you've got the Irish Computer Society gang and the fellows who they're brilliant. One of the things that I've done for years is I've been telling the guys in the Irish Computer Society, mainframe's not dead. And there's a number of university professors and lecturers there. So now they say, mainframe is still there. It's still really important. We just don't really know a lot about it, and we don't teach it here. So
I'll take that.
Next up, we need to bring back more courses. There's just so many brilliant people who have been so helpful to me over the years. So yeah, I'm kind of scared to name people, because if I name anyone, I'll miss everybody else.
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah. It's there's so many great people. But yeah, like Mark Wilson brought me into GSE, and voluntold me to help with things is James Harper is just amazing with the website and make sure that works. We've got Angie is really, really good. Ciara O'Connor is the person who told me to give it time. And she's on the GSE committee as well. And I think I will be forever grateful for that. That was probably the best piece of advice somebody gave me. Well, that advise with the back-out plans. They're both really solid pieces of advice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many. And then you start on the genealogy and the like. One of the things I loved when I was in college was they also had a program with the computer science department in UL. Like, how cool was that?
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant. So and I was friendly with the professors in UL from the Irish Computer Society.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like a lowly master's student doing the project. There's just so many people. I am the luckiest person on the planet. So there is so many people that like just have helped me out,
Right.
who looked after me. It's like I am so spoiled. It is not funny. It's great. Like
I love that.
I used to think the only person that was more spoiled than me was my baby sister, until we realized that my niece is probably more spoiled than she is.
Oh, well, that's how that works though, because she has aunts, right?
Yes, she does, and they all adore her. And
Right.
I'm hoping she's realized at this point that I am a woman in STEM and that I work in tech, even though
Right.
I am a mainframe systems programmer.
Right.
And she does know that I think I have the best job in the world. She also knows that if I wasn't doing this job, I'd either be a genealogist or working in a bookshop. Or
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
which we didn't even get to touch on.
That's okay. That's
So
that will turn up some other day.
Another rain for another day.
Exactly.
But
I might do too many things.
No, you're busy and I love it. You are more than a breath of fresh air. You are the fresh air and the sunshine. How's that?
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, remember, I'm Irish. I find it very difficult to take compliments.
Oh no, you're gonna take these compliments.
You're rolling the compliments on me. I'm kind of going, thank you.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. You're great. I'm going to park our car. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you so much for coming on and just being wonderful, like every day.
I just live. But thank you for having me, and thank you for asking me.
My pleasure. You guys, we just had like the funnest, I'm joking. We just had the best conversation ever. And with Aileen Nguyen, and it was so much fun. And despite all of the allergies, it's been like a roller coaster out here with the pollen and stuff. But I want to thank you for sticking around. Thank you for tuning in. It has been a blast. Aileen is an IBM champion. Aileen is one of these individuals that has made her way from point A to Z. You see what I did?
No. I like it.
Like that? So you guys, you can do it. There's so much wiggle room. You can be a mentor, you can be a student, you can be anything you want to be, and you can start from somewhere and say, I don't think I want to do that, and then find out that you're really good at it, and then all of a sudden understand that it's where you need to be. And Aileen helped us to appreciate the journey, the rock star career, a speaker, continuous learning, and having fun with it, and having outside interest, and being good at it, and enjoying life, and living living robustly. And we absolutely adore that. So thank you. Thank you, Aileen Nguyen, IBM champion. And thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.